us. Let's get loose, have some fun. Get about bills in the first of the month. It's my night, your night, our night. Let's turn it up.
Woo! We're gonna be talking about some money today. Gonna pay our rent. You know I like to have a good time, y'all. Let's get it out. Hi, everybody. My name is Mrs. Denise Parker. As you can see, I am live in on this Zoom, and I have a wonderful special guest, my illustrious The Hills, up on this piece. Welcome, welcome, welcome. But before we get started, I just want to say thank you for joining us. We're going to be talking about all things in the financial legacy space. And this is Elevate Your Game. It is a series that is geared toward focusing on creating pathways, whether you think it's lining up to your future of your careers or just finding out tools and techniques and skills. We're just trying to level you up, trying to get you to elevate your game. You could think about it as the game of life, the game of success, the game of, strategy, however you want to do it. We're leveling your life up and we're transparent. Things happen in our lives and we just want to make sure it flows. So before we get started, I just want our special guests, they came off the screen, say hello.
Hello. Thanks so much for having us.
Yes. And I wanted to do a quick just announcement, and then I'm going to personally introduce you guys. So you just stay right there. I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully my announcements will pop on up. And you guys who are there, welcome, welcome, welcome. Tell me when you see the screen, give me thumbs up. Ooh, look what it is. Can you see it? Thanks. Hispanic Heritage Month. Yes, we are in the midst of it. Happy Latinx and Hispanic Heritage Month. This is the month of September 15th through October 15th. And we're super excited about all the things that, we want to talk about today. Let's see if my screen was shoot to the next slide. To the next slide. Go, gadget, go. Did it go to the next slide? Let's see. It's not going to the next slide. There it goes. Okay. It's a little slow. So these announcements are brought to you by NCRF by way of my assistant, Ms. Faith Denby. If you want to receive any of these announcements, you will email Faith at ncrfoundation.org for the links to any of the opportunities we're going to share on these announcements. Okay, you can screenshot this. And we're just going to quickly just go over some housekeeping things regarding your career opportunities. Top places to find your career opportunities. One, National College Resources Foundation. Check out our NCRF's website, our NCRF TV YouTube channel. You can go to www.thecollegeexpo.org. and you can receive all information on our internships and careers program site and all the things that we have to offer there. And other job posting websites such as Indeed. Best place to look for it is through those job postings. Indeed is a huge resource. LinkedIn or Handshake. LinkedIn is our business professional social media platform that most professionals use. It is not like Facebook or Instagram. It's totally for connecting to business leaders and to other people in different industries. Great place to find postings. Handshake is a cool place for you to get through your college. If you're at a university or college, sometimes they are registered with Handshake. It's the student version of LinkedIn. There you can submit your resumes, networking website, all that good stuff. And then companies, go to the company's website, look at their opportunities pages, look at their, job, career search, go on any particular website, they should have a listing for jobs. And of course, your college or your school boards, the job boards at your career centers on your campuses, they're a great tool. Please utilize those. Also powered by our NCRF Foundation is American Airlines is one of our huge corporate sponsors. They have tons of opportunities in various locations throughout the United States. For students, college students, and grad positions, an MBA leadership training program, aviation engineering business roles, and so much more. You can scan that QR code to find the links to American Airlines and apply directly to them. You can also shoot myself or Faith an email saying that you applied to a particular position so I can alert the recruiter. Yes, we know the recruiters for most of our postings. There's also a social media coordinator position that's available. This is for college graduates, specifically because they're willing to travel and work professionally in the cannabis industry. Yes, Generation Z and millennials are interested in cannabis, and there are tons of opportunities there. We do not want to discriminate against different industries. I think this is a perfect opportunity to learn a growing space. And they're looking for a social media coordinator, but they're also wanting a college grad. And HBCU graduate students, that is a bonus, but you must be in Southern California and willing to work hybrid. They'll be doing interviews very soon. I already talked to a recruiter. We already have a couple people lined up for interviews, but it's not closed out. You can scan that QR code there. And Tesla, yes, the innovators of all those cars that you see fast and furious on the highways, they are looking for full-time paid location varies, positions, service techs, maintenance tech, local and regional operators, and so much more. Again, Tesla, you might, if you're interested in mechanical engineering or working on cars and being on innovative cars, then you might want to seek this opportunity. You might want to scan that QR code to see if there's any positions that you can apply for. Very nice. And then there's a fellowship, a journalism fellowship. This is a permanent full-time position. The job has tons of benefits, and you'll be working with Vox Media. They own several different platforms in publication, print, social media, you name it. It's one of the largest media companies in the industry. The Verge is a great publication. You'll work with the news team to write at least one story each day. Definitely, if you're interested in journalism and you have that background in writing, communications, those are strong majors or career pathways that you're seeking. You want to apply, but this is for somebody who's definitely interested in publications and that process. So scan that QR code. Definitely know this recruiter. She's amazing, and she's looking to hire some of our students and our young people. So it is Hispanic Heritage Month, and we want to just lead with a fun fact. There are hidden gems in the Latino business community, and we know that we're about to be doing our Black College Expo, which is also a mix of all different demographics. It's our historical Black colleges and other minority serving institutions in New York. And New York City is full of business startups and diverse people from all over Latin America. The Queens, Bronx, Brooklyn, some of their boroughs are leading with the most Afro-Latinx owned business. So it's a fusion of African and Latin people. And this is Kalima de Souza. She started Cafe con Libros, and it is a space where Afro and Latinx identities are represented harmoniously. So she does not discriminate, or she's a person who's a feminist. She's also LGBTQ. She represents a very strong voice in New York as an Afro-Latin person, and she has a bookstore. It's amazing. Definitely check it out. It's Cafe con Libros in Brooklyn. Definitely want to check out her site. So we're just gonna shout her out and say yay. And then upcoming events, like I mentioned, we're going to be in New York this October 1st. If you're in that area, please scan that QR code. We're going to be doing our Black College Expo in New York, Brooklyn at Medgar Evers College from 10 to 3. Colleges will be there if you're interested to transfer. If you're interested to apply, if you have family members who are in the area who don't, this is their consideration of colleges. There'll be about 35 to 50 colleges on site to get you in. And also I'm hosting in person 2 seminars on booming careers. And we're going to be talking about our first segment at 11:30 is going to be on finance and STEM. Our second segment at 1:30 is going to be about entertainment. In addition, we're going to have one seminar at 2:15, becoming an entrepreneur. It's going to be located again at Medgar Evers College. All are welcome. Free event October 1st from 10 to 3. And if you are seeking more opportunities, all the things we listed, you can scan that QR code. College students, come. College graduates, come. And incoming college students, this is a perfect opportunity to meet professionals from leading companies who will help jumpstart your career with paid internships, paid, PAID. Get your money. Employers with current job openings are going to be at all of our events and also on our Elevate Your Game series. You can have your resume looked at, all the above. We're there to service you on the spot and also on these virtuals. So you can register today for all the information and receive just feedback in general. And it's on to our info session. Thanks again. Faith is our contact for all these links. If you have any questions, you can reach out to her. Yay! And we did that. You see what I have to do, all this fun stuff. So great. We have some guests here. I am super excited. People are texting saying they're going to join now. I've been blasting and texting. You should be working on the sidelines. So you're on this conversation. We call it the hidden gems of the Latin business community. And today's focus is building or starting to build your financial legacy in golden futures. What can you say about that? Introduce yourself, Mr. and Mrs. Hill. Tell us who you are.
I'll start first. I'm Valery Hill, and I too am a Latina, and that's in business. Yes. Austin and I have a financial business together where we do financial literacy, investments, insurance for clients. Austin focuses more on the investments. I focus more on the people and planning and goal setting, and he does more the actual advising, but we work together. Financial literacy is probably our favorite part of our business. And that's anywhere from, elementary, middle school, and high school students and beyond to our actual clients that we sit and help with. But that's probably the most fun part of our business is financial literacy. So I'm really excited to keep it real and get into some stuff today. Go ahead.
My name's Austin Hill. A little bit about me, ex-NFL. So I was a sports guy, graduated from the University of Arizona. Did not think I was going to get into finances or investments at all. Thought I was going to be a ball player. And that future wasn't for me. God had a different kind of plan for me. And so I found myself wanting to help others, but at the same time, kind of create wealth for myself. So that's what I do. Being an investment advisor, you're able to really teach people how to invest, teach people how to grow their income and grow their money. And when I grow their money, I also grow my income. So it's a win-win situation and I love it. Been doing it now for about 7 years. So we just love what we do and we're here to help.
I love it. So as a husband and wife team, that's a power couple. Why do you find it's important to keep the family unit together when talking about financial legacy building?
I think that's, I'll take this one, but I think that it's so important because just like everyone has a role in the home and in the family, finances play a big part. So one, whether, whoever leads, usually, traditionally, let's say like a husband, I always tell my friends, it's not cute to not know what's going on. So you want to make sure that you're informed, you're educated, so you're making decisions together. So that way, obviously, you can make the best decisions for your family, but also kids. Like my parents did not talk to us about money, just don't be spending my money and wasting my money. But they didn't really talk to us about money or, how to, like we said, build generational wealth or create a legacy or to secure a future. Not that they didn't know, but, some parents don't think like, oh, that's something I have to sit and talk to my kids about, but we found it's so important. And we have a 9-year-old that she could school any adult on finances, how to invest, how to save your money, what's a good investment as far as a car or house, what's not, like, and that's just because we include her in conversations. So already, just by the information we're giving her, she's already going to have a way better future, even without our help. I mean, we're going to help her, but just with the information, she's going to make, you know, way better decisions than we did, and she'll be ahead of the game. So I think it's super important because, I mean, the more people on your team, the more successful you are. So if everybody knows what's going on and everyone's educated and everyone's making empowered decisions, I mean, you're setting your family up for a pretty good future.
Right. And I can recall like just growing up in different scenarios in my family's life. And sometimes the conversation about money was very tough. It was, you know, rigid. It was, you know, struggle. It was like, what we're going to do now, how we're going to do this.
Right.
And sometimes to this day, it's like with the inflation happening, we have these conversations with out loud in, you know, going to the grocery store. How much was that? You know, like the gas pump. And then all of a sudden you think like, what's going to be when my son and my children are going to grow up? How hard it is, how much harder is it going to be for them? And what should we be planning for right now so that we can actually save them from default or being in too much debt? So what are some of your key gems that you want to share with like to us, to our younger audience, to kind of prepare for that future right now?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is just building the habit of saving. I think a lot of people have grown up with such negative thoughts about money that they don't really respect it as much as they should. And I kind of grew up in a household like that. Wasn't really taught finances. And so even when I got into the NFL, the first natural thing wasn't to save, it was to enjoy it. And so money has always been used to enjoy life. And so the most important thing is to build a habit of saving so that when your income grows as you get older, you save more. And it's not about the amount, you know, when you're young, obviously, if you can only save $10, you can only save $10. But as you get older and you're able to save $100, $200, $1,000, $2,000 a month, and then you just continue from there, what you start to do is you start to build a habit of saving to the point where you'll look up, you won't even realize how much money you saved. And when you add investing to that, where you're investing your money properly, you're talking to the right advisors, things like that, you can really exponentially grow your money without you even having to work. Money can grow by itself. You just got to figure out how and talk to the right people.
Excellent.
Oh, if it's okay, I'll piggyback off that too. Definitely creating a habit of saving. But then also, if we're talking to any young folks, thinking about money for the future, not today. Because we were young and I was thinking about today, obviously, like what bills do you need to pay, like survival, obviously. But then when you do have extra money or saving, I'm thinking about, oh, saving for a trip or saving for this or that, not necessarily the future, because we don't think about it when you're 18 to 25, not really. I think when you're 30, you're like, oh, I'm grown. Like, I got to make sure I'm like, you know, on track for the future. So habit of saving, and then definitely thinking about money as a tool for the future, not necessarily the now. Because, you know, the cars or the shoes or the trips, all that is like really nice, but you could probably have so much more than that if you just wait, and then you can do that later, not so much when you're young. And then the other thing too is thinking of ways to increase your income, not necessarily so that you could spend more, but once you get into that habit, like Austin was talking about, it's almost like, not in a bad way, but almost like an addiction. You're like, oh, I like what I'm seeing results, and you want to increase your income. So maybe you can increase your savings. And then there's options with money. So definitely habit of saving, thinking about the future, and then thinking of ways to increase your income.
Yeah. You know, increasing your income is the key thing in living in this inflated society. I don't think I've ever had just one job. I've always had multiple streams of income coming in, and now I'm investing and doing strategies there, here and there. Every morning, my son, when he get up and we're going to school, he's checking my stocks. I said, he's like, "Where's Mom? I need your thumb to open up the," and I'm making him read the news trades so that he can understand, even if he's stumbling and not knowing the words, it's just getting him familiar with the words, and it's getting me more confident to want to invest because I'm seeing it through his eyes. Right. So I would suggest that for you who have young people, if you just start to practice those methods, and even if you don't know, reading and listening to different podcasts, talking to people who want to give you information like yourselves, and actually create this space, and then find other people who are like you, who are small time to large time investors who just want to circulate and try to get that information to one another. It's you can't have this conversation with people who have that broke mentality, right? You can't be hanging around broke people in order to get money, or people who want to spend and never think about saving, or always want to be trendy and not think about different ways that they can actually take their money someplace else. Money is very scary. How for people who don't understand how it comes, how it flows, how the transactions happen, how the value of the dollar in different places. California, I live in Los Angeles area, but I just came back from Detroit from one of our expos. The cost of living between California and Detroit was tremendously different. It was like homes where I didn't see a $1 million home. I go on Redfin, which is the housing. You guys know what Redfin is? You can look at houses and see how much they cost in the market. I was on there and I was like, $60,000? What? Okay, the weather is bad in the winter time, but what are you talking about? Like, there's nothing like that in California. So that's just right there. No, not even happening. So, thinking outside the box, that's why it's important to consider going to schools outside of your neighborhood, outside of your state. You never know. You never know that might be a place where you can build a family, build wealth, and regenerate, some amazing opportunities for yourself, because there's innovation everywhere. What do you say to that? Like, I'm talking a lot, but about myself and my journey, but how can you guys relate to that? Just that.
I think a big thing, I can relate a lot to that because, obviously went to the University of Arizona. So I was in Arizona, and the cost of living between Arizona and here is crazy, crazy different too. And, sometimes you do have to think about those tough decisions. I know growing up in California, for whatever reason, people that grow up in California, it's really tough for us to want to leave. Every other state, people just move around, they don't even care. But there's just something about California that makes you want to stay. But you have to, just like Val was talking about, thinking about the future, that's another future move right there. Is it smarter for me to go to this school somewhere else where the cost of living is cheaper? And then if I find a job, maybe I can start a life there, right? Holding on to, I think one thing is holding on to the people that you have now might not catapult you to where you want to be. And I think that's just like you were talking about. If you're hanging out with a lot of broke-minded people, or people that just don't want to move, and people that like being kind of where they are, you're never really going to want to catapult yourself to another level. So it's okay for you to kind of get out of your comfort zone and start to, look at other places and go other places. And I think going to college and going to school in another state is kind of the start of that. I didn't think I was going to ever like Arizona, but then when I was out there for 5 years, I fell in love with it. But then traveling around with the NFL and stuff like that, ended up finding myself back in California. But I could have easily found myself staying in, Phoenix or in Arizona, which would have probably completely changed kind of my living situation now. So, it's really important to think about things like that. And I think everyone on this call and everyone listening should think about that, especially when you're young. Think about kind of where you want to be, and you have to start planning now. If you wait until you're done with college and you move back home, it's a little too late. You need to think about it now.
I think
to piggyback.
yeah, go ahead.
Definitely financially, and to get away from maybe like your circle to have that experience. But mainly I was thinking about the experience of just being away from home. If you're blessed with like resources, like NCRF will help you get to school and through school. If you're blessed and you have that opportunity, do it. Not just for the education, that's important, of course, but for that experience. Because obviously he chose to go to school in Arizona, but we did have the opportunity to move around a lot, which was wild. But otherwise we wouldn't have seen, you can go visit places, but we wouldn't have seen or experienced living in other places if we didn't have that opportunity. Now, I mean, we like it here because you have your family or whatever, but we're not scared to move somewhere else. And just because if it's a different state doesn't necessarily mean the only differences are cost of living and weather. Sometimes things are more fast paced. Certain, cities, if you go to New York, sometimes things are slower. Sometimes you see certain environments or the way people just live their life or what type of jobs. I know some people that they're like, I really like this place, but for the industry I'm in, it's not hot, like this is where I need to be. So doing that will definitely open your eyes to different experiences as far as like life, but also business and work. And I think getting out of your comfort zone makes you like not afraid to take chances, but definitely the experience. I would 100%, I got to piggyback off Austin's experience, but if you have that opportunity, you need to take it.
Oh yeah, you never know. So that's the key thing about finding the right partners or friends or connections. Like you guys got married, you guys probably started one place and then now you're growing into this space. How important is it to choose your right partners, no matter what you're in, whether it's you're building your financial wealth, building your family, because it all leads to economic growth. It's like my business, where I live, that's all part of like choosing what is proper for your goals. Sometimes as people of color, we sometimes just throw a shot in the dark and say, well, I hope it lands. I hope this works out. And then you're like, oh Lord, I didn't check his credit score and I didn't, you know what I'm saying? You're like, I married into all this debt or this drama or you partnered up with a particular person who doesn't have business on mind. They have just flash and, I just want to show off, like I got a business. Like, no, but we got to there's finances involved in business. It's not just about just doing a business. So how important is it for you to choose the right partners and thinking about financial legacies?
I think it's so important. And I'll be honest, I think luckily it worked out. God is so good, but I don't think we were both mentally there yet. I think we always had like a little something where I knew like, okay, like he wants better. He has a good head on his shoulders. He's smart. We're not there yet. We're immature. We don't really like have those experiences or the education. Same with me too. I just knew like, okay, like I need someone that's going to match, even though we were still matched, but like at a low level. But then do they have the potential to grow with you and learn with you and develop great habits and strive for more, things like that. They may not have it all together, when you meet them. Just, I'm sure, you don't have it all together too when you meet them. But if you guys are on the same path, like, okay, I'm trying to like stack this money. I'm trying to increase my credit. I'm trying to purchase a home. I'm trying to start businesses, or, maybe they're not quite there, but they're like, I'm willing to work hard. Like, I want to have a good life. Like, this is what I'm willing to do. I think it's so important because just like, let's say someone is maybe not quite there, but they have the potential, you can lift that person up. You can help that person, but vice versa. Let's say you're with someone that's not quite there, but there's little potential or desire too. They can actually hold you back. And then things get messy and you don't ever want to feel like, I think I asked Austin a million times, like, do you need anything from me? Like, when he was like trying to play and then it fell and stuff. And I'm like, am I holding you back in any way? Like, is there anything extra I could do? Because I'm like, I'm not trying to be that person, and there's going to be different seasons, obviously, where someone's maybe making more money or more successful or moving at a faster pace, but it's 100% so important to make sure. And I think when you're young, you don't think about that. I told Austin, I'm so glad God's so good because we were able to both grow in the same season at like relatively like the same pace. But sometimes that's not always the case. And when you're young, it's not. If you're, 22 and you're talking with the guy and he's just like, so what music do you listen to? You're like, yeah, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? He's gonna be like, girl, like, I'm just trying to have dinner. They may not be thinking about that. So because you're young, but you definitely want to look into those things. Also, I recommend if you make a list of what you're looking for in a partner, focus more on becoming that partner, focus more on that list for yourself, and you're going to find somebody that's perfect for you. Instead of,
Yeah.
looking for the person.
I think that's the most important thing. I think in nowadays society, we look for somebody who perfectly fits kind of our grooves and our bad habits, and they just perfectly fit and mend with, mesh with us. Instead of us trying to change, we try to change everyone else around us to fit us. And I think, that's really important, is you need to strive to become a better person and better at what you do. And somebody, eventually you'll find somebody who will mesh with you. And it's really important to find the right partner. I mean, you're basically going into business with this person. I mean, we're in a business together. We raise a family together, right? Your household is really important. I think everything starts in the household. I think business doesn't go well. Outside business doesn't go well if your household isn't in order. Your faith doesn't go well if your household isn't in order. Nothing goes well if your household isn't in order, because at the end of the day, we're human beings. If we're stressed out at home, then we're going to be stressed out everywhere else. And we're going to take, we're not going to be able to take advantage of life like we should. And so choosing a partner is really important. And I mean, I guess for the young people, I would say, don't look for a social media relationship. Obviously we know social media lies. Everyone who looks perfect on social media, no, people aren't perfect like that. Relationships have ups and downs. We argue. It's okay to be in a relationship with somebody who kind of is opposite of you and doesn't like certain things. It's okay. Things can work out. Don't ever look for somebody who's exactly like you.
And I find that it's important to have that basic conversation, because we're talking about building financial legacy, and anything with legacy means that you are working with yourself and with others to make a statement. Like JP Morgan is legacy, Rockefeller, Disney, Facebook owner, whatever, LeBron James, that's legacy. Kevin Hart, legacy, Celia Cruz, legacy, you know what they do, how they do it. And now they are building their wealth around that. And everything they do at that point is generating money, is bringing advancement to their life. So that's why I want to kind of get to talk about the partnerships and the relationships, because for our communities, that's where a lot of our failures begin in our finances, is when we're investing too much in that stuff and not looking to invest in ourselves, in finances, and properly. So now that we've cut to the chase, what is it besides savings where we need to start? Like for myself, it's education, just getting educated. Secondly, after you get educated, like should we be afraid of investments? Like what to invest in? I don't know sometimes. How do we figure it out? What is an investment? What are different strategies of investing? From life insurance to stocks, to mutual funds, to bonds, to crypto, whatever, whatever's your pleasure. What can you say is a basis to get started and educating yourself on for your particular perspective?
I mean, for me, I learned it by getting my licenses. I think that's kind of how you can learn really fast. It's really easy to, kind of go after and get your licenses and get the, your state and federal licenses to do investments. You learn a ton about different investment strategies. You learn a ton about where to put your money. You learn basically the ins and outs that the general public usually doesn't know. And if you decide to invest your own money, you actually pay yourself, because when you invest, you make money, because you're investing your own money. So you get like a commission off of investing your own money, and you get rate of return. So you get kind of double, double the income basically, right? By doing that. And that's kind of an advanced way of learning how to
if you were
learn how
really
to invest, if you're really interested. And you don't have to end up getting into being an advisor or anything like that. Another thing is just doing research on Google. I mean, Investopedia, I think is a huge thing. Wikipedia got a really bad rep back in the day, but they fixed it. Investopedia though is amazing. So if you have a question about investments or any type of funds or anything like that, if you type it into Investopedia, it'll tell you everything. I mean, when I was studying, I was using Investopedia a lot, more than I think anything else online. And just learn like that. And then the third way I would probably say is to just talk to an actual advisor. But you have to be careful in that aspect, because there's a lot of advisors that will kind of just tell you and not educate you, right? So you want to talk to an advisor that is willing to educate you and go above and beyond to kind of explain, not tell you where to invest, not just tell you where to invest, but explain why you're going to invest in these areas, explain how it works. Because I've met a lot of people who have been in investments, and I'm like, why are you here? And they're like, oh, I don't know. It's just what an advisor told me to do. And I'm like, well, what are your goals? Oh, they're this and this. Well, that's not where you should be investing your money then, right? So don't ever just, flat out listen to the first advisor you meet. Research what they're talking about. Make sure that they're educating you. And if they're not educating you and just kind of telling you what to do, then that's probably a red flag in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to kind of answer a question like, where does one start? Should we be afraid? Like, there's so many options. How do you know? Education, obviously, in anything is the most important, and going to someone. But since we are, talking about our Black and Brown community, one thing I think, besides being afraid of investing or not knowing, is the belief that we don't have access to that. Like, that's not for us. Like, I don't have a financial advisor. Like, we don't have access to that. And I'll be honest with you, that's a lie. There are some like bougie firms that I'm like, you don't want to have access to them anyways. It's fine. They won't take your appointment. You don't have $20,000 or $100,000 or whatever. So don't worry about those. I think that's what people think of when they think of finances and investments and having a portfolio in retirement. That's not what it is. It's just you taking advantage of lots of free information. If you're looking for an advisor that's honest, that does not charge you a fee, that will educate you and help you with your goals, I know one. We'll leave our information. But you got to just find people like that will help you, that are educated and qualified and can actually help you. But don't be afraid. Don't believe that you don't have access to those things, because you do. And also all the different options there are, and it could be overwhelming. But if you have somebody walking you through it, you'll be in good shape. Right. Also, obviously we don't have enough time to go into every single option, but the main ones I'll tell you is 401k. A lot of people have that through work. Am I using it correctly? How does that work? I'll give a tip really quick, since I am talking about it, but 401k, if your employer is matching it, but they'll only match it 3%, make sure only 3% of your paycheck is going to that. Anything over that, still going to your retirement, but it's going into whatever 401k that your employer uses that you don't really understand. So let's say right now you're contributing 6, you found out your employer only contributes 3, scale back that 3. That's 3% of your income that can go back into your monthly budget, right? Go back into your household. Or if you were willing to invest it into your retirement anyways, take that little 3%, start an IRA, start some type of Roth, some type of investment, even if it's not a whole lot of money, but you could do that. Austin can help you do that. Little things like that, little tips that maybe you don't, a lot of people actually are like, I'm a 401k, I don't know, look at it. I don't know what it means. Your employer is not going to go over that with you, but that's a basic one. starting any type of like mutual fund, it's super easy. Those are low contribution. Do you have $25 a month? Like you can be an investor. So don't be afraid and don't make the market and finances and investing to be something, all like glitz that's scary that, just because you don't know about it. Because that's not true. I think we learned that the hard way when Austin was playing. You have a lot of advisors, like he was talking about, like, oh, we have this special account for you and this special VIP, and this is a list of fees, sign here. And like, we're like, oh, okay. And then after he was like, okay, we really need to like know that stuff. We're not playing in the NFL anymore. Like we need to like help people like our folks, like our parents, our aunts and uncles, because not everyone is going to want that or have access to that. And then we learned it's actually so simple, and what it's made up to be, and to scare you and to make you believe that you don't have access to it, or it's scary or risky or expensive, is not true. And that's on purpose. I hate to say it, but that's on purpose. That's so that people that do have access to that and do have more money, they can continue building wealth like they are doing. And for, the average middle class, hardworking American, make them believe that they can't really. It keeps you in a cycle. So if you want to build, break generational curses and build generational wealth, just don't believe that, so make sure you're educating yourself and you're going to somebody that is going to be honest with you and help you with your goals, because they're so achievable.
Yeah, they are achievable.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take it, you can go really hard
Mm-hmm.
and do a lot of investing, taking 20%, 10% or more of your paycheck to go towards that, at any income that you make. It's really good. I actually I tried to set up myself to just do it where I don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I set my account where a certain amount goes into some place where I can't see it. It's just like boom, it's gone. And then that account is going to do something else. It's going to go to someplace else where it's going to start to be access for me to push a button here and invest or whatever. But yes, IRAs, 401ks, those are great things and tools to research. And even if you don't work for a company, you can still do those things with an advisor or a financial advisor to actually get set up. You got to look at those fees, You got to look at all the different fine print of what works. And you might want to start smaller. Like you might want to work on something that's, it only takes $200 as opposed to 2,000 or 20,000 up an account. Or you might want to just, have a savings account that's, you're stacking away chip by chip, 10%, 5%, 2%, whatever but try to do more, as much as possible. And things come up all the time. So we just want to make sure we honor our chat real quick. And I think we answered some of those questions in our conversation, but we have a young person here. I'm really interested in investing, but I need guidance on how to. I learn better when somebody can guide me through the process. Now, I want to pause right there. I want to ask the why. Why do you learn better when somebody guides you through the process? Is it because you're confused and you don't understand, or because you want to do what's, known or popular, or what everybody else is doing? There's a difference there. It's like, you want to do what everybody else is doing, or do you want to do what, something that you think that's right and you just don't know? Like, how do you describe your why for that, Deja? It helps me understand, and I can learn to be independent eventually. Okay, so she wants a teacher. She wants a coach. That's what it sounds like. Like, you could do it. It's possible. I need a coach too.
Yes.
Austin, I've called you a couple times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We got you.
Yes. So, what can you give to this young person about, finding that person, that teacher, that advisor? Where do they find an advisor besides yourselves?
Besides myself, it's tough because you would assume you want to go to a bank. The problem is I've worked at a bank before, and banks they don't care about the client's bottom line. They care about their own. So they're going to charge you high fees. Most advisors won't talk to you unless you have a certain amount of money or want to invest a certain amount of money. So I wouldn't necessarily go to a bank advisor. I would find any type of independent advisor. So I'm an independent advisor, don't work for a bank, don't charge any fees for my information. I can set you up with a whole plan, and if you decide to run with it, you can run with it. I don't get paid. I don't advise on that, but whatever. And there's lots of places. I think what we really need to do. I know NCRF does have a couple advisors that they work with, and so I would always suggest going through NCRF. We're planning on trying to get a really strong financial literacy kind of program set up with NCRF.
Yeah, we're building it. This is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons, Mr. and Mrs. Hill, that why we're having this conversation, because we're starting more initiatives that are geared towards entrepreneurship and building wealth and leaving legacies. And it really starts in the home, and we consider our place a home, a house. We're the walls, we have these rooms, and we're just building out the rooms slowly and seeing who can join the team. Yes, you're right. Banks can, but we do have banking partners who give different We do. We have banking partners that give different type of advice. But yes, walking into a bank branch and then asking for advice, yes, it is. You're going to get the you ain't got enough money to even get started here. But But being in a nonprofit space, there's people who are giving advice from a perspective, really broad, as opposed to you don't have enough. Let's get you just familiar with terminologies. Let's get you familiar with strategies and things that you might want to aspire to be. So when you're going into your companies or starting your businesses, you'll ask the right questions. You won't just sign on the dotted line from your paychecks, and then you all of a sudden you're like, oh, you got to get a 401k, and you never ask any questions. Or I met somebody on one of my investment groups, and I was just listening into a webinar call, whatever. And that person said they worked for a major technology company like Google, one of those. And every month or every paycheck, she got an additional $30 or something. And she didn't know what it was. And she never questioned it. And if she would have not cashed it out and she would have waited till she retired, it would have tripled and doubled and quadruple. She was taking it at cash value then, as opposed to waiting for it to grow. And she worked for a very big company. She was taking the cash value then and never questioned it. And she said, and she shot herself in her foot when she joined this investment club. She was just like, if I would have known, I would have been a millionaire if I would have just let it ride. And she was working for that company for 23 years. Wow. And she was getting these little checks here and there, and they sneak it in, and they don't tell you. They just kind of, here's the information. Yeah. So one of your advices you did is, research, question, know your why. Don't just set it up with the bank and just get told. When you said find an independent financial advisor, do they need to be certified, licensed? What makes them a financial advisor? Let's get that out the way.
Yes. So if you there's brokercheck.org, I believe. And brokercheck.org, what that does is you actually look up the person, and it tells you if they're security in license, not like security guard, like security license, like investments. Okay. So it'll tell you what licenses they have. And they have to be licensed. If they aren't, they can tell you anything and they're not liable. So I'm actually liable. I can't tell you guys, hey, you're gonna 100% have this money if you invest this. I can't tell you that. It's a lie. But if they're not licensed, they can. So a big problem with certain independent agents, a lot of them, they have their insurance licenses and things like that. They'll tell you they're investing your money in certain ways and that you can have this guaranteed income. But if you were to broker check them, they don't have any of the licenses to actually invest your money. So they're not actually investing your money, but they're telling you through little instruments that they sell you. And so you have to be really careful about that, because a lot of people do get taken advantage of. I've had a lot of clients who were told by certain people that if they put $50,000 into this life insurance policy, that's an investment too, that they would have like $300,000 at the I think it was after like 20 or 25 years. And what happened is that I met with her 10 years. She had it for 10 years. And I told her, I'm like, you don't even have 50,000 anymore. You only have 20,000. You've lost almost all your money. And this is telling you that you're not going to have any money in the next 5 years. And so she said she was told by an advisor, and I checked the name, and he wasn't even licensed to even sell investments. So you have to be careful. Any independent advisor that you talk to, if they say they're an advisor, you can broker check them, brokercheck.org, and just do some research on them. Do some research on what they say, who they are, because it's your money. And it's really important, because that'll determine whether or not, you have a lot of money in the long run or no money in the long run. So it's really important to do that.
Yeah, some people use like platforms that are internet based, TD Ameritrade, Stockpile, Voyager, which is in the news now because they lost, they're in a bankruptcy case or something like that, where their holdings are being held for digital coins and stuff like that. They were selling the cryptocurrency that was a area. And people invested, and now they're shaking them down, and they're running for the hills saying we can't pay because they owe too much money to their bigger investors who invested in that. So the little people like you and I or whatever, who a couple $100 here and there, we may have lost our money. But you know what? Some of it is part of that, process, because there's a lot of trusted places that you think are credible. You see a lot of celebrities around them and talking about it, and you're just like going towards it. But I like to look, me personally, when I was thinking about investments, and I'm still growing and learning. I like to find the sound, like the institutions that's been around for decades, that they broke the system and they started, and then they got into this space here and they got into this space, but they're testing all these different areas of how they can show investments. And I'm like, okay, so who are you backed by? And I said, oh yeah, you guys were the number. Okay. All right. Now I can push that button now.
Yeah.
And a while back when I was younger, I had the opportunity, a family passed, and I, left some money to me, and great. Thank you, Lord. That was great. And so I went to their trusted advisor for some big company. Yeah. But because I wasn't their top priority, all my little money just dwindled away slowly, because I didn't know how to read. I didn't know how to ask questions. I didn't know how to challenge what they were advising me to do. So yeah, for people who are just starting, what do you say to dibble and dabble in stocks and dibble and dabbles in those mutual funds? Like, how can they start without feeling that they're overwhelmed? They lost so much. Like, start with 20, start with 100. I mean, because there's stocks that cost anywhere from pennies to hundreds and thousands of dollars. So what can you advise, different strategies, just simple things, just of knowledge?
So, I mean, you can start with, really small amounts of money. Personally, when I invest, I can invest people's money as small as like $25 a month, right? Which is not really much, okay? But it starts, like I said at the beginning, it starts that kind of habit of investing, okay? You want to have a habit of investing. Warren Buffett said that, if you don't have money, if you're not making money while you're sleeping, then you're losing money, right? You need to be making money while you're sleeping. And what is that? That means your money's in the stock market. When the stock market wakes up, your money's making money, right? And so you can start with really small amounts. If you don't really have an advisor and you kind of want to go through those apps and things like that, you have those Robinhood apps, you have other types of things, and just do small amounts. I would stay away from companies that deal in crypto, though. However, just because crypto is really volatile. So What do I mean by volatile is that it can go up and down, up and down, up and down. If you just follow Bitcoin, it'll be up 8% and then it'll be down 10% the next day, and then it'll be up. So it's
That
really
might be
volatile,
scary as a beginner.
right? And you also want to have a plan going in before you even decide you want to invest. Okay, am I investing this money because I want to make $1 million in one day, or am I investing this money because I want to see how much I can grow it within 3, maybe 5 years, right? Time frames are huge. So also another key point, if you're meeting with an advisor and he's not talking about time frames and what your goals are and stuff like that, that's another red flag, okay? Time frames are really important. It changes up where you want to invest your money. So for my retirement accounts, they're not invested with the same places where I have like my short-term accounts, okay? Where I'm trying to like make money really fast, all right? They're not invested in the same places. So you have to be, you have to want to talk to somebody, want to get some advice and know your goals and make those known, okay? Just know that advisors, whenever you decide you want to meet with an advisor and you find somebody, or if you meet with me, whoever, have your goals in mind. And at the end of the day, an advisor works for you. You don't work for the advisor. So you should be telling the advisor and whoever is investing your money or helping you what your goals are, what you plan to do, how much you want to invest, things like that. And then we go from there.
And then,
Yeah, go ahead. No, you.
Well, to summarize, if you're a beginner, like what should we start with? $25, $50? I would do a small amount, especially if you're a beginner and you're not quite ready to like implement a plan, like a saving and investment plan, but you're like, okay, I know I need to put it away. I want to like get familiar. I'd say something like $25, $50, whatever you can. Okay, if it's out of sight, out of mind, it's not going to break the bank. It's not going to make things tight. It's okay. Maybe you still save in your savings account at the bank, for emergency stuff like that. But if $25, $50, you're not going to see it. It's not going to hurt. Try that first. And like you said, make sure you have your goals. Also depends on your age and what your goals are. Let's say you're like, okay, I want to get familiar with this investing thing. I'm going to start with $25 like a month and just like get going. What is it for? Is it going to be for because you're looking to purchase a home? In the next like 5 years? Is it you just want to have the individual investment, not necessarily for retirement, not you just want to have an individual investment account just to save and grow money? Or are you like, no, I should probably stack some paper for the future. Like I'm just going to start growing it little by little, but it'll be for the future. Like I'm not going to touch it. Then that would be like a retirement account. So you definitely want to make sure, you can always move money, but you'll be way more successful if you have a plan and a purpose, even if your main reason is just, I just want to get familiar. I just want to get going. Why do you want to get going and what is the purpose? You'll be more successful if you already know that before you start putting away, even if it is only $25. Our daughter started with only $25 a month. And at first we're like, is it for college? Is it for what? She's like, I may not go to college. I may want to start a business. I'm like, okay, girl. So she just has an individual account. It's not necessarily for any type of purpose. She's like, when I'm grown, I may use it to purchase a home or to start my business. I'm not sure yet, but I want to start saving and growing money. And I'll tell you, $25 a month goes a long way, and she's young, so she has time, and time is your friend with investing. Like time is on your side. Like Austin was saying, so have a time frame as well.
I think that's one of the advices you should give to your younger self. Like time is on your side. Take that little check that you get from your, minimum wage job or whatever part, whatever volunteer thing, and somebody paid you a little something, or you got Christmas or your birthday, or somebody just blessed you and just hand you some money. We want it to like rain like from the heavens and it's just this big check, but most of the time people lose their money when they win those big earnings and they spend it like that, or things come up, life happens, things come up and you got to take care of things, which is important. You got to still have a roof over your head, food on your belly, and what we need. What could you give as your final like advice? Of course, put your contact information in the chat for our listeners, and they want to talk to you. I can see that already. What can you give to the younger self that you can say, if you just did this now, and like at 15, 16, 17, you can be here. You will be here. And it'll, because $25 can be multiplied into 2,500 easily. Easily, if you continue to scale up and keep adding to it. So what can you give the younger advice that our younger generation, real quick, and then do the same thing for somebody who's older?
So my young people, it's so worth it. You babysit, you mow lawns, like you said, you have your little job. It's so worth it to put away the $25, even though everyone else is going to be going out and buying new shoes and doing that. But, and I don't mean this in a mean way, I just mean, I wish I knew this now. Those people will probably have to work a lot longer than you are. So even though you're like, it's just $25, it's just this, the sacrifice is so worth it later. And you'd be surprised. I think I saw Austin pulling up a projection, but do you know how I don't want to say easy, but do you know how simple it is for you to become a millionaire? If you start when you're 15, 16, 17, just putting away a little bit of money and growing it, it's so easy. I feel like everyone's like, oh, a millionaire. To me, I'm like, you better be a millionaire if you live in California. Like, you have to be, to be okay. But it's so achievable, and it's time. Time is your friend. You have a plan to become a millionaire when you're, 40, 50 years old. It's going to take a lot more work, a lot more money, and you have less time. But if you're young, the sacrifice is so worth it. Put away a little money. It's very simple. I don't want to say easy, but it's very simple to become a millionaire. So that's for my teenagers. You get birthday money, babysitting money. I was a nanny like all through high school. I didn't save any of that money. And I did the calculations recently, actually, because those kids are grown now, aging myself. But I did the calculations. I was like, I'm so silly. Like, it wasn't very much money for a high school girl, but I had no bills. What was I doing with that money? Like, I should have been putting it away, investing it. I did the math. I was sick to my stomach when I saw what I would have had just like at age 25. So that's my advice to my young people. The sacrifice is worth it. A little bit of money goes a long way because time is your friend. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I would just say the same thing. Obviously time is your friend or your enemy, right? So I don't know how many people are 18, right? But I always have a projection that I normally show. The difference between if you wanted to just save $100 a month. That was it, just $100 a month at 18 versus 22. Like, you go to college and then you decide you want to start saving. And you were losing anywhere from, at retirement age, you were losing anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 per year. You decided you didn't want to invest over those 4 years, right? And that's a huge deal, especially when you're talking about just $100 a month. So because you decided not to save a little bit, in the future now, you've missed out on millions and or at least hundreds of thousands of dollars. And obviously, we've made the mistake. Obviously, if we would have put our money in the right places when we were young, we'd be saying the same thing. But the thing is that we learn. Not everybody learns, and not everybody wants to, get advice and try to figure these things out. Which is why
you have to want to. That's what you have to, like, we can talk all day in a circle and say, this is what you got to do, this is what you got. People who are joining the call, I myself joining the call, has to want to do it. And once you start with the want, then the door starts to open a little bit easier. If you are resisting the information that's given to you and you're like, but I can't, and there's an excuse all the time, right? Like one of our, persons here is saying that the bank told her to put in at least $3,500. Okay, that is a huge, that's like looking at the mountain when you don't have much and saying, climb it. Get ready, you gotta climb the mountain. So, but you just have to want to do the $35 and do it 100 times and then 1,000 times to the point where you got the $3,500. Everything, like if you said, I pay myself first, that means you want to do it. Even if you don't know what you're going to do with that pay yourself first money. Just say, I pay myself first, I put it away, it's in this little jar, or it's going to the bank, or it's in some safe place. And I know it's going to be protected. Nobody's going to steal it. That's the key thing. Don't just put it in a place where somebody can just take it. You got
Yeah.
somewhere where you can prove that that's your money, and something happens, it's licensed, insured. I get my money back. So
and real quick, that's huge too. Because everyone listening to this or listen to it in the future, you guys have put yourself in a tough spot because you've actually learned and heard this information. I don't know how many clients I've had that, they're 45, 50, 55 years old. They're just starting it because they've never learned about it. And this is the first time they've ever heard about this stuff. And I feel really sad and bad for them because they lived in a society for so long that never taught them how to invest. All right. If you guys are young, count this as a blessing. You guys are learning about this stuff when people who are about to try to retire and only have $100 of retirement at the age of 65, they're trying to, they're working at Walmart, they're working at other places, like, because they didn't save and they don't have a retirement, and now they're going to have to work until, unfortunately, they pass away, right? I don't want that to be anyone on this call, anyone that listens. And, that's a huge thing. So you guys have put yourself in a tough situation, but at the end of the day, just listen to people that want to help you. I think that's the biggest thing. Just listen to people that want to help you, and we can go from there. And get it done.
Not take your money, like, let's help you and not take your money and run to the hills. Like, you're calling the hills and they're talking about, give me all your money, we're gonna invest it. No, that don't work like that. No, we're gonna teach you how to invest it. So that you know where your money is going. That's the key. Don't just give your money away. Know where your money is going and check on it every day. Check on your money. What can you give advice to the older, your future selves, I should say, your current and future selves, I should say. You're 35 and up.
My 35 and up. 35, you still got time. Start it up. Be aggressive.
Be aggressive. What does that mean? Be aggressive? Like, invest more?
So yeah, if you're looking to retire, you still have time to be aggressive. So the ages of really being aggressive with your investments, like getting them into technology companies, investing into technology, and things like that. You want to, you can be aggressive probably from the age of 18 all the way up until you're maybe 35, 40, because you have over like a 20-year threshold, right? Of how much you're growing your money. Because at that point, when you are, if you're paying attention to the stock market right now, you're seeing a dip, right? It's dipping really bad. Which is a great time to invest because everything's on sale.
Time to invest. The dips are a great time to invest.
Dips are great. I had a client who made 80 grand because she invested in the dip during COVID. She made it in 2 months. So obviously you want to take advantage of those moments, right? But sorry. Go.
No, you're good. And then anybody like that's more seasoned than like 35 there, like, as long as you're alive, you're still in this game. You can change your life tomorrow. It does not have to be the same that it was today. And also, so that we can break these cycles and continue like a more positive association to money, is teach. So maybe you're like, oh, okay, like I'm learning this, but I only have so much time to retirement. So still work on it, but make sure you're teaching your kids or your grandkids, because that's still a legacy. Maybe you didn't go and do it, but if you're planting seeds and you're educating your family, or you're creating little pockets of opportunity, that you'll still be remembered for that. And that's still a legacy. You set your family up. I feel like that's equally as important and honorable. But like you said, like, it's never too late to change things. Your game plan might change because of time, but it's never too late to set yourself up or, create wealth.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So we're gonna, before you end, I want you guys to give your information, put in the chat, but also say it out loud so people can like
Yes.
know where to find you. So go ahead and type it in the chat while you're somebody types, somebody tells us how to find you guys. And
Okay, so the best way to contact us is emailing us, because you can go ahead and say, hey, this is my situation. Obviously, we are professional, but we want to be your big brother and sister, your go-to. So you could say, hey, this is my situation. I need advice. I will give you a call. We can set up a Zoom appointment. I will email you back free resources, whatever we can do to help. So you want to take this email down. It's thehillbusiness@gmail.com. Super easy to remember, nothing fancy. thehillbusiness@gmail.com. And you can pretty much ask us any questions, explain your situation, or say, hey, I'm interested in learning more. Can we set up a Zoom appointment? Those are free. We don't charge like a consultation fee or anything like that. As many people as we can help, the better. Because it just takes one person, two people. That's how we change communities. Also, there's so much more that I wanted to share. But like I said, there's just so much, to get into like the meat and potatoes of it.
well, real quick, just highlight before we close out, what do you want to share? Just give the topics, like what are the things that just 5 top, whatever you want to say.
Okay. So like a basic financial house that I'm like, oh, they're just so simple and it's just so good, is obviously budgeting. A lot of us don't know how to do that. We're just like, well, I got X amount of money, got X amount of bills, and that's no. There's strategies that anybody can do, and there's different options. So budgeting, obviously all the different investment options. And then also, we didn't really get into it, but you reminded me when you said that a family member had like left you some money when they passed. That's a game changer as well. Making sure that, my daughter asked me the other day, Austin's dad said, oh, you kids aren't getting anything. It's all going to the grandbabies. And she was like, oh, that's so exciting. What is your grandma leaving you? And I said, I don't think she's leaving anything, baby. And then that's like the difference. So talking about life insurance and how that creates generational wealth. And that's, something that the inevitable is going to happen. Like if you could do that for your family, that's awesome. Or making sure that, the elders of the family, that they have that stuff in order. We've seen families' lives completely change, like their family tree. They invest that money and they just set up their great grandkids. So stuff like that. So budgeting, the different investment options, life insurance, and then free resources. Like we have so many free resources we can send you. There are videos, PDFs, just simple things that you can just take. It's free, and they're game changers.
Mhm.
Just little things like that. Obviously, there's just like so much more you can get into depth, but there's just so much.
And the basic thing to start is just coming to info sessions like this, where we're just having conversations. Yes. Before we close out, I would like to have any of our special, attendees, if they want to ask a specific question. Now, remember, they can't give you specific advice, because that's not what they're here for. They can give you general. So please keep that in mind. This is we don't want to lead you astray. We want to guide you to the right areas. So anybody on this call, if you want to come off of your mute button and ask a question, let's use these last 5 minutes to do that. So anybody, just go right ahead or type it in the chat. And the clock is ticking. Tick, 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 tick. Anybody?
Well, while we're waiting on questions, I was going to say that too. NCRF is they're like such a blessing because of all the different types of resources for free that they give. But financial literacy, if you're already familiar and plugged in to NCRF, and they're going to start creating a program and we're going to do more things like this, I would plug into every single thing. That's free game.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there's 2 questions in chat. Do you guys have a website? And are you affordable for college students?
Okay. 1, we do not have a website, only because we're licensed, so we're regulated by FINRA. But we are in the process right now of, we're independent, but we are in the process right now of creating a financial literacy company. So that will have a website soon. And are we affordable for college students? Yes, all of our resources and our assistance is free. The only money that would come out of pocket is literally the money that you would like to invest. So there's no extra
A
fees or
certain
anything like that from
percentage
us.
or a dollar
Yeah.
amount of the investment that you take, which is what that's anywhere. You go put your money in a
Right.
bank. I'll charge you to put your money in a bank.
Right. And to be honest, that's just like a front load fee. It's just like one time, and that's basically the establishment of whatever account. That actually doesn't even go to us. So you never have to worry about anything like that. That advisors, they're compensated through brokerages and different firms and things like that. Our main goal is just making sure that you keep, that's important, you keep as much money as possible, and we're setting you up. Also, since you were asking about affordability for college students, if you go to a firm and you want to do a financial needs analysis, which is basically a professional game plan, financial game plan for your goals, there is a fee for that. And we have a database that allows us to do it for free. So that's something else too. Even just getting a game plan put together specifically for you, that's something that's free that we can put together for you. That's pretty much like a game plan to set you up for whatever you're trying to do.
And the same person, she's asking a lot of questions. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I love it.
Do we invest through you all, or do you tell us where we can invest? So that's key, because that's the difference between, you're not giving
Yes.
people your money.
So
okay, go ahead.
yeah,
Right,
no,
right.
no. So you're not giving us money to invest for you. Okay. Basically what we're doing is an actual advisor always going to be the one to create the investment account. Okay. So your account will be with a brokerage or an investment company, depending on where you decide you want to invest. Okay. But most brokers actually can invest in multiple places. So for instance, for us, depending on where I want to invest the client's money or where I advise them to invest, I'm setting up accounts with different companies. For mutual funds and other investments where you're investing into like companies like Google or Amazon or wherever, what you do is I just help create the account, and then I show you the fund that we're going to be, that I kind of advise depending on the goal, where you should put your money. And then the money goes from your bank to that fund. It doesn't go through me to them. It goes directly to the fund. So basically, just a quick thing, how investments work. Investments go to the fund, and then that money is buying a portion of whatever company you're investing in. Okay. So if you buy a portion of Amazon, if Amazon does well, then obviously you have a part ownership in that company because you're investing in it. So your money does well. That's kind of just how investments work.
And then also too, so you're not investing like through us or like in us or anything, we're just helping you. But a benefit of that is not only, or is that, let's say a mutual fund, for instance, not only do you have two advisors that are in charge of those funds, right? They get a pretty salary and bonuses to make sure that they do well. So you have them every day when they wake up, making sure that those are making money and those are doing the best that they can. But then the benefit of having someone help you set those up is now we're watching them, and the advisors of that fund don't know your goals. They just know that they need to make the fund money, but we know your goals. So we're like, hey, everything's going great. Let's say we meet in 6 months. I'm like, hey, Denise, like, I know this was kind of your goal. And, this fund seems to be moving a lot faster than this. So what do you think this would, our projection shows that it would help you achieve your goals faster, yada, yada. So you're not doing anything through us or anything. Consider us just guiding you, basically. Okay. Setting you up and guiding you.
Well, I love it. So everybody knows you can reach the Hills, Mr. Austin, Miss Valery at thehillbusiness@gmail.com. Pretty simple. They don't want it all fancy schmancy. They want to be transparent. All NFL, all this. She's like the rainmaker over here. Well, I get it. It's the power couple over here. They don't want to make it too hard to think about the future. I love this conversation. Let's have it again, and let's work on, now that we've had the basic conversation of this overall, let's get rid of the issues in our head, our fears. Now let's go into a deeper conversation. So
Yes.
Valery, Austin, thank you for your time. We're going to reconnect, give us up to 5 weeks. And then we're going to have this conversation again on a different strategy. So
Yes.
get ready, financial literacy team, FAs in the business, in the building for NCRF. You're one of our go-tos. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, this is Mrs. Denise Parker, Managing Director of Internships and Careers, and also our entrepreneurship program for National College Resources Foundation. You can follow us on YouTube, follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, you name it, all the socials. You can definitely support our organization by just coming to any of our events. Again, we're going to be in New York, October 1st at Medgar Evers College in Brooklyn from 10 to 3. Giving away tons of resources, opportunities for those who are interested in college and access to resources. And that's it. That's all I got to say. Mic drop. Y'all are awesome.
You're awesome. Thanks so
Awesome.
much for
Thank you
having
so
us.
much.
Thank you. All right.